How are you doing?
Really good. Happy to be in LA. Yeah, it's nice to be here. I got to see some friends yesterday. And
You were hiking.
I was hiking.
Yeah.
I did do some hiking. And I got to enjoy the pretty weather out here. You know, it's the best. LA is such a nice lifestyle.
First started thinking about acting and culture. How did this start for you?
Well, a big thing about my childhood is that we moved around a lot. We traveled. We would be in a place for about 2 years and then move on. So I didn't really have any friends. And a lot of the people that I connected to were characters in stories that I read, and then a lot of stories that I watched. One of my favorite movies that I have probably seen more than any other movie is Labyrinth. And I mean, so many other like kind of weird movies that I don't know how they like found their way to me, but absolutely made an impact. And I swam for years. I was a competitive swimmer, and there came a time when I had a lot of damage in my ears. So I had to stop swimming because they would have to poke a hole in my eardrum every year to, like, it was so painful. So I had to stop swimming, and I was devastated about it, like absolutely devastated.
How old were you?
That was right before 7th grade. So, and I thought it's like my life was over. You know how it is at that age. I thought I was going to die. And my mother responded by saying, "Well, you're real dramatic. Why don't you try theater arts?"
That's good parenting is what that is.
So that's kind of how it started. Yeah.
Guess when you got into Juilliard, they thought like, okay, maybe he's pretty good at this though?
I think they did. At that point, they were like, because we didn't know anything for Juilliard. My parents are from Oklahoma, and I didn't know anything. I just knew that it was like this. I knew some things about it, but I didn't really have a clear picture of what I was getting myself into. I was a child. I was like 17 years old when I went. So I think it was that competitive spirit that I was like, I want to get it. And I was certain I was going to get in.
Wow.
I was just certain. I mean,
wow.
Foolish,
it
right?
It seems a little unfair to me that it then worked out for you. I mean, I'm not saying
I know. I was just like, it was the only school I auditioned for, and I was just like foolish. I mean, it's insane, actually. I was kind of pinning my future on that. I didn't know how to do anything else. I was just like, well.
Yeah. I mean, look, it seems like it worked out, so. First major screen credit is a Showtime movie called Soldier's Girl. It came out in 2003. Could you talk a little bit about that character and how you came to that role?
Another thing that I was just certain I was going to get it. I was absolutely certain. I mean, I feel like what I'm revealing in this interview is a kind of like confident insanity. I mean, it's obviously a personality problem because there's no reason I should have been cast in that role. I had done nothing else.
So for people who don't know, it was...
What if you didn't have to be dead?
So, it's from the pilot.
It was a little moving to see that.
Yeah. What does it make you feel?
I just saw Anna recently. Yeah, I visited her in London. And when we were shooting those scenes, her daughter Gracie was learning how to walk, and now she's 16. Yeah. So it's, in seeing that, I just think about Anna. I adored her. Like, I adored working with her. I've never met someone who loves life like Anna Friel. And she came into my life, at a time that I needed someone like that in my life, and she did for Ned as well, What a great experience that was. It's so fun to see that. I'm a baby. I'm like a child.
I mean, I wasn't going to say it that way, but it is.
What I can talk about, like with The Hobbit, for example, which I couldn't believe I didn't think I was going to be getting cast in that.
The
No,
first
I remember,
time in this entire story.
I know. I was just like, could I be so lucky? Because the Lord of the Rings was such a, I thought it was just genius.
Stay here, if you will, and rot. 100 years is a mere blink in the life of an elf. I'm patient. I can wait.
Oh, he's so fun. What a fun role. Yeah, it's so much fun. I loved thinking about him. I remember I just gotten my farm at that time, and I just was walking around, like, thinking about elves.
Wait. When you're walking around thinking about elves, what is in your head? Like, what does thinking about elves mean for you?
Well, I believe in elves.
Okay, I'm
And
going to need more information about that.
Well, I've got proof, and I've got personal proof. So when I was shooting The Hobbit, New Zealand, which is just go. But while I was there, because I shot for like three years, I'd go for a couple months, and then I'd go back home, and I'd go back, and I would always go on a big hike, where I would backpack and camp. But I did the Tongariro Northern Circuit, which is about a 5-day hike that takes you basically up to Mount Doom, where they shot Mount Doom. And it's extraordinary walk. But it takes about 4 days, 5 days. I did it in 5 days. And I was, going on this hike, taking pictures with my phone, taking pictures. And the second day, I reached for my phone, and I couldn't find it. And I thought, oh, fuck, I've lost my phone, and I've got 4 days, and I can't turn back. I've got to keep walking. So I would, at night when I was making camp, I would tear apart my pack, looking for my phone, thinking, it must be in here somewhere. It must be in here. 3 days go by. The phone is just nowhere to be. I've lost it.
You just have a
forgotten about
pack. It's not like it's hiding some other place in your,
Well, I'm certain I'd left it back there. But I woke up on the last night, and it is sticking to my back. The screen is stuck to my back. Elves. That's elves. Is that not proof?
I'm sold.
Exactly.
I had doubts when you said, but I'm in it now.
It's like a testimony that they exist. They said, son, you don't need that here. We're going to take that technology away from you. You need to think about other things. Look around, be where you are. You don't need that phone. It will not help you. So they took it away from me for a while. But they're not evil, so they gave it back. But they were like, don't go, because that was also the time of like Hipstamatic. So they were like, don't go ruining, Mount Doom with Hipstamatic. But tell me, are you convinced?
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you.
I think we're going to go home and really think about every time we've lost our phones now is what's going to,
Right.
So you have this incredible. You were on set. So then you do a little show called *Halt and Catch Fire*.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah.
Oh good.
I knew.
Thank y'all so much for watching. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that show and what the experience of that show was like?
Oh my God, I loved making that show. Well, we just had this incredible cast of people that I remember we started just. The directors change on a show like that. So we were like, we can create a company of actors that can, really do our work, and investigate who these people are. And if anything, just for the enjoyment of that. And we took those meetings really, really seriously. And there was, we would fight about the characters. And I was constantly defending Joe McMillan. Carrie Bechet, God bless her. I love Carrie Bechet. Carrie Bechet was so good on that show. She was, and I did not have many scenes with her, but I knew when I had a scene with her coming up, I needed to be ready because she always came to play. She was always on, always so good. But I just remember being there and being like, Joe's right, and y'all are being unfair to him. Like, y'all are being, and she's like, he's a monster, and you're a monster for defending him. I would get on the phone with the showrunners and just be like, this is not fair. You can't do this to him. You can't do this to Joe. Like, it's not fair, it's not right. It's like a child screaming up to God saying, give me my way, give me my way.
And yet it's so striking because you can feel that in the performance, right?
I felt it, I did.
But that it's also so much of what Joe is.
Yeah.
Joe is railing against all of this unfairness that he perceives.
And I evolved with him as he learned. I remember kind of realizing the foolishness of my kind of arguing with them about that. Because then at that point I realized, because also no one was watching the show.
I was.
Well, you were the only one, unfortunately. Like, no one, we didn't have many people watching it, so there was no pressure of a hit, like of repeating something that worked, because it wasn't, it didn't seem to be working.
It was working.
But, so we all liked it. AMC liked it and supported it and wanted to see us keep making it. So at some point, I kind of realized, like, this is not a show about winners. This is a show about people who have the right idea at the wrong time, who are unlucky, who are carrying the weight of a bad reputation. That's Joe. He's got a bad reputation and he can't shake it. No matter how much he wants to evolve, people remember who he was. And that's life. That's American entrepreneurship. You know, I love that show. I'm so proud of, you know, the point of view of humanity that we got to investigate during that time.
A role that you long to play that you haven't had a chance to yet. Let's will it into the world right now.
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, we are in Hollywood, right? It can actually, dreams come true. Do you know who someone I've always been fascinated about? I don't know in what way it would be that I could play him, but he means a great deal to me. My favorite writer, Walt Whitman. I think he is someone who is endlessly fascinating. I'd hate to see the magic of him reduced into some biopic, but I always pray that there could be some form that I could work with those words, because I mean, second to Shakespeare, but you know. He's the American master.
Thank you all for joining us, and please give a huge round of applause to Lee Pace.
Thank you. Another great conversation.